Hi everyone, Sam here. I'm here with another one of my diamonds today, and she's going to talk all about Sam's diamonds, what it's done for her and how it's helped her through the journey. This is Sarah Vaughan, everybody. Hi Sarah.
Hi everyone.
Right, quick question then. What type of cancer and grade did you have?
So I was diagnosed with HER2 positive breast cancer in December 2017, grade 2 and stage 3.
Wow. Okay, and can you give me 3 words that describe how you felt when you were diagnosed?
Panicky, scared, and I say worried.
Yeah, worried. I think we all feel like that, don't we? But did
Yeah.
you find a lump yourself, or was it like a routine mammogram thing or something?
No, I thought I was really good at checking, but I found a really sizable lump that had just seemed to come out of nowhere. It was like a hard mass rather than a lump, but it was actually really, really big by the time it was MRI'd. And it grew quite significantly from when I felt it to when I was actually diagnosed, which was about 4 weeks.
Really?
Really, really, really quickly, yeah. Yeah, and my nipple actually, my nipple actually had started to invert by the time I got my official diagnosis.
Oh my goodness. Did you say how long you think it had been developing for?
No, but I'd actually done a marathon and 4 half marathons, and they think I did that with breast cancer, which is quite incredible.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah, yeah.
Get you,
I
Superwoman.
know.
Okay, so obviously you felt scared, you felt frightened. Why was it that you decided to join Sam's Diamonds?
So I read about Sam Diamonds quite early on in my chemo. I found a leaflet in the Lilac Centre, but I wasn't 100% sure it was for me. I felt a little bit scared that I didn't want to join a group that talked about cancer all the time. And it wasn't until I met a group of you at Miss Chagler's fundraiser and realised that actually nobody was intimidating and moping and talking about cancer all the time. There was a real energy about the group that I really liked, and I thought, you know, I had a little chat with you and Dawn, and I thought, do you know what? No, I think I could be part of this, and this could be good for me. So not long after that, I joined, which I think was autumn 2018.
Got you. So how long have you been a diamond for now then?
So that would be coming up to 2 years this autumn.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are support groups like that, and you do have to find the group that's suitable for you. But I think the first thing people think of when they think support group is it's going to be very woe me and depressing. And, you know, on the cancer journey, you're trying to strive to stay positive and keep going and moving forward. How would you say Sam's Diamonds is different to the other groups?
Well, first of all, I hadn't joined any other groups, but my perception of them was that it was quite maudlin, and that's what initially put me off, because I didn't want to talk about cancer all the time. I wanted to move forward. I wanted to be positive, and obviously, you know, if you join any group or any society, the common denominator is something that's always going to be talked about. And in that case, it is cancer. But I think to meet people like myself who just bumming along in your life and suddenly this huge bump in the road comes, which is cancer, you know, it brings people together, but it also makes you realize that actually I'm not any different to anybody else. I'm just me, but I've had cancer or I'm going through cancer. And these are people who we just, you know, not talking about cancer all the time, but suddenly you've got that common denominator and you can understand when you have lousy days, or you just don't want to talk about it. You want to have a blowout, you want to go for a big long run, or you have a couple of glasses of gin, and there's that mutual understanding, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And that if you want to talk, and there is that support there, but if you don't, and you just want to join in with one of the activities, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'd say that it's very much a case of everybody in Sam's Diamonds tends to be, I always say you get victims, you get survivors, and you get thrivers. And I think in Sam's Diamonds, we've got survivors and thrivers. It's people who refuse to be a victim of cancer, to refuse to let it get in their head and pull them down. They want to go forward. So it's a likeness, isn't it, in the group where people are motivated and motivate each other rather than woe me, woe this, woe that.
And definitely. And I think that, you know, if you've not had cancer, it's very difficult to understand what you go through and how alone you can feel. And even just without having to have those conversations, you know that that person has probably had a mastectomy or maybe a reconstruction, maybe not, has maybe gone through chemo, is on targeted therapies, has had radiotherapy. So without you then having to explain all those things to somebody, there's that mutual understanding there. And then you move forward and then you grow. And I think that's really important. It's important to not just brush it under the carpet, but to acknowledge it's happened, it's happening, and maybe compare notes, but to ultimately to face it together and then move forward, move on, in however way you want to do that.
Yeah, and it allows you, I think, to get that normality back to your life where you can be you and not be a cancer patient that everyone's, how are you? How are you? You can just be about enjoying yourself because you all understand. I mean, if I was to say to you, right, I'm starting radiotherapy now, you'd probably know exactly where I'm at in my head right there and then. Don't need to talk about it, but you would probably support me in the way that I would probably need.
And also I found, because people don't know what to say, so you come to the end of your obvious treatment, you know, your radiotherapy, your chemotherapy, and everybody's response is, oh, so are you okay now? And actually what they're really saying is, so are you not going to die now? Because ultimately that is what people think, don't they? So you assume you look okay and you've survived your treatment, therefore you're back to normal, you're better, you're not going to die, crack on. And I think we know as a group that it doesn't quite work like that. But rather than having to explain to people, you can just have that mutual understanding of, you know what, the fatigue is terrible, it's really nasty, it's taking it out of me, I'm not ready to go back to work yet. And you don't necessarily have to justify why you feel like that, because everybody knows.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. So what treatments did you actually have, Sarah?
So I started off with a really lovely cocktail of chemotherapy, which I had 6 rounds every 3 weeks. And it was a really tough combination because my lump was 7/9, and that was after my first chemotherapy. So it was pretty big. And the chemotherapy was really tough, I won't lie. Ultimately, it saved my life. After the chemo, I had a sentinel node biopsy to remove 3 lymph nodes to check for any cancer cells. Luckily, they came back clear because then I was due to have my mastectomy and reconstruction, which I was really looking forward to because I thought, well, if anything, I'm going to have this amazing body, this tummy tuck and boob job. Woohoo! Didn't quite work like that, but I was really lucky. And when they did my mastectomy and did the biopsies afterwards, the chemo had actually zapped and killed all the cancer cells, which was amazing, almost like an insurance policy. And then the radiotherapy and the targeted therapy, Herceptin, came after that. And I've had a couple of other surgeries, cosmetic. And I've still got a few in the pipeline as well, and tattooing. So I'm really lucky. The treatment did knock me for 6, but wow, you know, it saved my life, and I'm very, very grateful for all of that.
Definitely. Well done you. Well done you. So whilst being in Sam's Diamonds, have you been involved in any activities? What parts of Sam's Diamonds are you involved in, and how did you find them?
So I struggle to get to the weekly groups because I work virtually full time, and we've got 4 kids at home. So our life is very much taken up by those weekly routines of work and school pickups, drop-offs and clubs and to get to the groups. I think I've been to one meetup in the day, like an arts and crafts one. And I have been to an event that was, I think it was the Bernie Breast that ran that, or Macmillan that ran that, about life after cancer, where I met up with yourselves, and that was about moving forward. In an ideal world, I would like to work less, as we all would, and be able to attend more. But you know, I do manage to try and keep up with a lot of things on Facebook, and you know, when people ask questions, or if I've got a question, that's a really, really good source of support. And sometimes it's a good distraction, because it's not about cancer, it's about the daft things and sharing memes and things like that. The most beneficial part for me, obviously, was the weekend away. I was super nervous. I've always been quite a confident person, and I didn't realise quite how much cancer had kind of knocked that out of me. And it's taken a while, but nearly, well, 2.5 years on, I feel like I'm getting more back to me. But the weekend away was just fabulous. Met some really, really lovely people. We laughed, we cried. I did get there and think, wow, this is a lovely place and these are lovely people, but this isn't for me. I'm not sure I'm going to get anything out of this. I am an open-minded person, but that was my first thought. And luckily, you know, we all got to know each other, and I found out that everybody felt the same. Everybody felt the same way, because at that point, the only thing we really had in common was cancer. And we just, I think, at different stages over the weekend, we all kind of let ourselves go and let loose. And whether that was to have a few drinks or cry or just be really silly and dance and hide and seek, what an amazing kind of stress reliever that was. And it was just really nice to be able to go, yeah, you know what, I am me, and this is what I've been through, and it's not been easy, and I know you all understand, so look, here is me. And it was fab. It was really good. And I look back and think back a lot to that weekend, because I know whilst I was there, I didn't necessarily kind of pour my heart out, but in the weeks afterwards, it was as if it allowed me to accept that, yeah, that's been a really traumatic time, and be kind to yourself, Sarah, because it's been really tough.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of lessons for me that weekend, a lot of lessons. And, you know, even just, I don't even know if I should mention this on here, but even just on the Saturday night in the kitchen after a few drinks, and we're all like, oh, well, look at my scar, and yeah, well, look at my scar, and it felt so normal. It felt so normal to see all these people who were not afraid to share that their bodies changed and how it's affected them.
I think it allows you to accept you as well when you see everybody else's scar, and it's like, oh wow, that's good, and what was that? And just discussing openly the things that people don't necessarily. Don't get me wrong, every time we do a weekend away, the boobs come out. The boobs come out, honestly.
I felt sorry for the people there that didn't have breast cancer and they didn't have the mutilated boobs to show. But
I think it's accepting yourself, that everything you've gone through is typical and normal on the journey, and that there's other people feeling the same way as you. And you know, sometimes we have people who really hung up and angry at themselves for not feeling grateful for their bodies being the way they are. But when you speak to other people who have actually gone, well, do you know what, if my body's got to be like this, if it means I'm here, I can accept that. It's sort of like, as you say, a few lessons kick in, don't they? And you just make you think a different way.
I didn't realise how angry I was with my body. I'd always been really quite fit and healthy. I ate really well. I used to juice. You know, I was into my running. And in fact, they laughed in work and said I was always the one with the avocado and quinoa for lunch, where they'd have a pie. And So of course, then I suddenly get breast cancer, and I thought, well, what was the point of all that? What was the point of all that health and fitness and taking care of my diet and drinking loads of water? But then somebody did point out to me, well, actually, maybe your body coped better because
Yeah.
you were in a better physical condition than maybe the next person. And I've realized how much I'd been kind of abusing my body by just eating rubbish and just, you know, almost like very
Giving up on it.
self-harm in a way through food and drink. And that I realized that after that weekend that actually I need to be kinder to my body, because actually my body's been really clever and coped probably in a better way had I not been healthy beforehand. So I did kind of reflect and look into my my binge chocolate eating.
I think you do have to go through a phase of accepting things, and a lot of the time on the weekends we do have a lot of women who have an awakening like that. I mean, we had one lady who was so down on herself, hated her body, hated everything, because, to quote her body had let her down.
Yeah.
And it took everyone to try and console her because she was in tears. And she won't mind me saying this story. And then I ended up having to shout across the room to her that if her body had let her down, she wouldn't be here. And it was a big awakening call to her. And it was like, oh my God, I said, your body is phenomenal. It's just beat cancer. It's just beat all the poisoning that has been given to beat cancer. And you're still standing. You're still here. So you need to respect what your body has done. This is your machine. And as you say, if you hadn't have had all that healthy lifestyle before, maybe you wouldn't have been strong enough to get through it.
Exactly. And that's what I had to kind of take on board. And I just felt like that brought a bit of me back again. So it was such a valuable weekend in lots of ways. And even though I had a fantastic time when I was there, and it was very, very uplifting, it wasn't until kind of the weeks and months that followed that I realized quite how much I needed that, and quite how important it was.
Yeah, it's such a simple concept, but it's massive to everybody.
Yeah,
you're not the only one who has that afterwards. It's like that bit of a self-reflection, isn't it? And right, no, come on, yourself up. Life can be fun again. You know, like you say, playing hide and seek is so simple, but the fact that everybody was laughing and they haven't done that for so long, you know, it's like, I can actually have fun. So again,
it felt like being back in the school playground, you know, when you find yourself and you're giggling away. It was brilliant. Such an amazing release of energy and emotion.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So still a member of Sam's Diamonds now. So what would you say Sam's Diamonds does for you now? What does it do for you?
I think it's the support. It's knowing that you've got those niggling questions in your head, and sometimes they feel a bit silly, they feel a bit daft, and then you see somebody else has asked a question, and there's lots and lots of support back, and you think, no, I can do this as well, or I can get from their answers some answers for me as well. And I just think it makes me almost feel really sad, though, you know, on Facebook when it says welcome this person to the group and welcome that person. I think, no, you know, not another person who's having to go through this, but thank God for Sam's Diamonds, because they will get as much or as little support as they want or need in their journey.
I think that's I think that's really important as well, because people can take as much or as little of the activities and services that we offer that they feel they need at that time. Nothing's forced upon anybody. You know, we've got people on the Facebook group who've been there for years and they don't say anything, but I can see they're watching and they're watching, they're looking at posts and stuff. So everybody gets as much or as little as they want. You don't have to attend all the activities or anything like that.
I think I've come across somebody recently who actually contacted me through my campaign, and they're local, and I've been pushing for her to contact you, but I think there's that fear, and there's also at the beginning of your journey, I felt very much like I don't need anybody else. I'm really strong. Until later that they think, no, actually, I need to reflect. I need that support. Coming out of it, where you may not necessarily go into your appointments all the time, and It's different for different people, obviously.
I'd say the majority of the ladies we do get when they're coming to the end of treatment, because the head is so full of everything, and appointments and being ill and then recovering from treatment and all this stuff. And then once they start seeing, I suppose it's the door of treatment where they know they're going to go right off back with your life, that can be quite overwhelming. And that's usually when they search us out, usually.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And it I don't know if it feels, I think there might be also an element of I don't want to know. You know, you can, when you're going through the treatment, you can only kind of deal with that space between then and your next appointment.
Yeah.
And I think it's almost a bit scary to think, well, if I join this group and there's people who are post treatment and dying and everyone's supporting them, that's not going to be right for me. And I think that's quite scary. And I felt a little bit like that. And I also felt a little bit like I was invincible. And I kind of got that strength from someone. I will do this. I will get through this, and I will do this on my own. And that's great, but I don't think everybody can do it on their own.
No, I think a lot of people don't think that way. So some people just go to pieces and don't think they can do it. But when you've got all your friends and family behind you saying how strong you are, how inspirational you are, it builds you up into this machine that's going to do this. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't have that support either. So
that is true.
Finding your army, which is what Sam's Diamonds is, they've got your back. You know, you would have to put one like, oh, I'm worried I've got a mammogram on, and how many posts would come up like with that the other day. It was like, whoa, you know, the support is there for you. But
and it's good to know that people have your back, and people who understand this have your back. And I think the other thing to say is that sometimes when you go through this journey, people surprise you, and the people that you think are going to be really supportive aren't the ones, because for whatever reason they can't do it, or you know, it's too much for them. And sometimes it's the people who you don't think are there for you that come out of nowhere and give you this amazing strength to carry on. And that can be confusing, because you know, your very close friends aren't there for you, and you're thinking, well, what have I done wrong? And that's where I think something like Sam's Diamonds is really important, because everybody's in the same boat and everyone's experienced that.
And I think that's a bit that messes with a lot of people's minds, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hang on, why aren't they there for me? I've always been there for them. And then all of a sudden, people you didn't really talk to are saying, can I do anything for you? Do you need anything? And it's like mind blown, isn't it? But I think, as you say, with Sam's Diamonds, everybody in there is supportive. You're guaranteed support.
Yeah.
Make some new friends, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Would you say that if there is one word, if you've got one word to describe Sam's Diamonds?
Empowering.
Empowering. Like that one.
Yeah.
Good word.
Yeah, definitely empowering.
So if you had somebody... Sorry, go on.
But I say sometimes that is empowering you just to be yourself.
Sorry, you're frozen.
Yeah. Oh, am I back?
There you go.
Yeah, I think sometimes that is empowering you just to be yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean it's empowering you to be superwoman, superhuman. It's empowering you to say and be honest with yourself. But I definitely think I would use the word empowering.
Yeah, it allows you to accept your feelings more, because you'll see there's other people who are having a bad day and there's other people who are having good days. So you sort of bounce off each other, don't you? So when you're on a bad day, someone's having a good day, they kind of pick you up because they get what you're going through. I think it's really important to surround yourself by people who you are like or want to be like.
Yeah.
Who build you up, not people who pull you down.
Yeah, and you see in other people as well the qualities that you know you've got or had and or want to be like, and that's inspirational.
Definitely. I think also when you go through the journey, it's important because there is that element of accepting the new you, because there is a new you that comes at the end of the journey, And I think a lot of people struggle with that new you, but when they see how other people have managed accepting their new you, this is even making sense. Do you know what I mean? How they've managed to accept themselves as a new person. When you see someone else and that you talk to them and say, oh, well, I found this, I did this, I tried that. I mean, so many people have walked away from the job they used to do.
Yeah.
If I was contemplating, oh, I can't do this job anymore, I'm struggling, blah, 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 to speak to somebody who says, I was exactly the same, I took the step and I did this, empowers you to think, oh, well, that's okay, then I was okay feeling like this, it's not bad, you know, not on my own feeling this way. So yeah, I think it's important that you surround yourself with people who are like you or get what you're going through.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you very much for coming on to talk to me today anyway, Sarah. Really appreciate you giving us the time.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Enjoyed this video, everybody. Give us some likes or make some comments underneath. I'll see you soon.
Bye.